Okay, this is a call to order for the meeting. I hope you all had a good Labor Day weekend, and I'm going to start with the statement about the meeting being held in Zoom. In accordance with the Governor's disaster declaration and its suspension of certain aspects of the Open Meetings Act, this meeting is being held virtually via Zoom. The public was invited to provide input via email before the meeting. The Zoom information was published with the agenda, so members of the public may attend the meeting virtually and provide input. Okay, first thing to do would be go ahead with roll call.
All right, Ms. Salmon.
Here.
Ms. Bex. Ms. Headland.
Present.
Mr. Miller.
Here.
Mr. Modica.
Here.
Ms. Orchardton is excused. Mr. Pania.
Here.
Ms. Williams.
Here.
And Mr. Robinson. Okay.
Okay. Next would be approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. Does anybody have any questions or comments about those notes? Okay, in that case, I move that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to second your motion, Pat.
Oh, okay. Hadn't made the first one, but that's fine. Yes. Okay, let's go ahead, and we have to, because this is on Zoom, we have to do a roll call vote. So let's go ahead and do that for approval.
Ms. Salmon.
Aye.
Ms. Bex is absent. Ms. Headland.
Aye.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Modica.
Oh, Frank,
he's
you're still
shaking.
muted.
Ms. Orchardton is absent. Mr. Pania.
Yes.
Ms. Williams.
Yes.
Mr. Robinson is absent.
Real quick, I just wanted to check, did you get Frank's recorded response?
I did, as I saw him shake his head. Do we need to have him physically say aye?
We might. Frank, can you hear us? Are you able to unmute yourself? There you
Yes, aye.
are. Very
Yes.
good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Other quick point, sorry to jump in. Jason, it seems that Ibrahim might be in our waiting room. His name might appear differently. Can you check if there's anyone in the waiting room? Otherwise, he might be in the wrong place.
Oops.
He's in.
He's in.
Oh, there you are. Hi, Ibrahim. Good to see you. Okay, I think we have everybody.
Oh, okay. You said there would be some additions to the agenda, so why don't you go ahead with those now?
Correct. So we have two additions to tonight's agenda. One is an Urbana Arts Grant 2018 presentation on the project How Are Social Activists Made by Tony Pitts. And we also have a presentation for 2019 Urbana Arts Grant Women Who Painted by Paula McCarty. Those are the two additions to our grant presentations for this evening.
What order do you want to do those in then?
We would probably add them after the listed folks.
Oh, okay. All right.
Sorry, folks.
Okay, do we have any public input today? Okay. Let's go ahead with the staff report then. Go ahead, Rachel.
Okay. Well, first of all, hello, everyone. I'm so happy to see you all. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so this is your September Arts and Culture Commission staff report. Let me begin by saying that we continue to, of course, to be impacted by the COVID-19 crisis. As I've mentioned in previous meetings, the Urbana Arts and Culture Program is continuing to suspend most of our events held in person, with the exception of a couple of very small, sparsely gathered and masked events that included things like a ribbon cutting for a mural. But other than that, we've had almost everything either suspended or virtual where we can make them virtual. Staff are following guidelines set forth by the Illinois 5-phase reopening plan and are consulting public health on any in-person related things. Some events are being held virtually, and our staff are continuing to share relief information with artists, resources for local artists, and try to continue as many initiatives as we can. Our staff continue to largely work from home with minor visits to the office. The arts and culture interns hired through our Illinois Arts Council Summer Youth Employment Program are going to be ending their internship on the 15th at the latest of this month. So tonight's presentation is followed by a brief presentation from our interns summarizing their activities of this summer. And they completed their internship as part of the Illinois Arts Council Summer Youth Employment Program. And to reiterate their names, you'll be hearing tonight from Cecilia, from Madeline, and from Max. And they will go over their biographies with you one more time. I also want to mention that following last month's presentation, we talked a lot about the summer, including some interns, a number of interns that actually came to us through the University of Illinois WeCU Community Engaged Scholars Program. Those students have closed out their summer internships, although a few have expressed interest in continuing into the fall. So we are in the process of planning their fall projects. One student in particular is going to be doing their James Scholars Campus Honors project with our organization. And so I'm collaborating with one of our summer students who's decided to make our program their James Scholar project. And I was really wanting to give a shout out to our commissioner, Frank Modica, who recently met with us. We spent some time talking about particularly how we'd like to do some additional work around disability and artistry and how we can better serve artists with disabilities, particularly around sensory sensitivity. So we're working on a sensory sensitive concert series that would be held largely virtually. And that will be part of that person's James Scholar project. So I'll have more information about that soon. We're really still focusing a lot of our work on trying to build resources and make clear what we have going on. And that includes working a lot with our arts grantees. So as many of you know, we gave out a record amount of $88,000 this past cycle for 38 creative projects. All of those projects have also had the benefit of a few different held meetings with me and our staff talking about COVID-19 related guidance for how to go about their programs. I've made a strong effort to meet with anyone interested who want to brainstorm, to problem solve around how they can continue to move forward with their projects and try to give as much one-on-one attention as I'm able. So those meetings continue as well. We're trying to do a lot of one-on-one support since every event is different and every initiative does look quite different. We do have a number of projects coming up. So by and large, our grantees are doing their best to continue their projects in some fashion or another. And I think that's really remarkable and wonderful, and it's what we want to see. We have a few things that are coming up just here in the next month. Very likely to be the finishing of a downtown mural that was funded called Vibrant Public Mural that appears on the back of the 123 Main building in downtown Urbana. And we will be having some sort of socially distanced ribbon cutting that will also be largely videoed to be shared with the public and would feature the artist and would introduce the works to folks through video as well. Very soon here, we're approaching the CU Black and African Arts Festival this upcoming weekend. It's actually had a number of days leading up to the event that kicked off the day before yesterday, I think largely yesterday, with a series of events, including a youth-focused day, a day focused to restaurants, eateries, and local art, a day focused on wellness, and a day focused on civic engagement, and then the two-day virtual festival. So that's really exciting, and we're sharing lots of information about that. Other projects that are underway currently, the Writers of Oya, the virtual CU Folk and Roots Festival released a lot of information about their event that we've shared on social media, and virtual Pygmalions coming up right around the corner. So as you can see, our grantees are really moving forward with quite a lot of things that they're doing. The Great Art Doors is another initiative of this past summer that we're very, very, very delighted is going on. And what's most exciting is that just this past weekend, most all of the selected artists, and just as a reminder, this was a project where local artists were selected to create outdoor art installations in several Champaign and Urbana parks and two of our two most prominent community gardens, that of Learman Neighborhood Community Garden and Randolph Street in Champaign. This was a collaboration that brought together our 40 North Champaign County Arts Council, our two park districts, and Spurlock Museum, who offered the funding to support this project and ensured that these artists receive an honorarium for creating artworks that will take up 10 different designated locations. The locations were also selected with particularly in mind both areas that we consider maybe under-resourced when it comes to the arts, and areas that maybe don't yet have, especially public displays of art in different ways in their area parks. So we had most of these artists install this past weekend. Very, very soon, in days, you'll see a big release of information highlighting all those artists, introducing and doing maybe not ribbon cuttings, but public announcements of all of those art pieces. And then of course, encouragement to go out and see them. If you know who some of the artists are, you might have seen some of the things go up already, but there'll be a big formal announcement later this week, I believe. We also continue this collaboration with the Urbana Free Library to highlight a different local artist every Monday and encourage people to shop local art. So Art Inspired in Urbana continues, and we're always looking for new artists to feature as well. So if you have anyone you'd like to suggest, and we ask for them to give us information, web links, and of course, a statement about what inspires them and what they encourage other people to be inspired by when they're thinking about making art. These posts appear concurrently on social media platforms for the library and the Urbana Arts and Culture program. Our inaugural Poet Laureate, Will Rieger, has had quite a tenure, as you all know. He had an extension of his tenure due to COVID for an additional 3 months. So he completes his laureateship here at the end of October, and he's wrapping up all of these different projects that he's kicked off. And it's really been wonderful to see. We have a list of things that are included in your report that are more recent things that he continues to work on. So as you know, Poets in a Pandemic is the TV series. We've got another one coming up here, and it will be our final release. This is our monthly feature of a different poet. Our postcard poetry project also just had a deadline extension for people to keep submitting to that. That'll be a digital exhibit. Poems on Glass, we have unveilings coming up here during this month. So you will hear very soon new dates released for unveilings, largely because we're not encouraging gathering. What we have instead are going to be sort of a video unveiling of those pieces as well. And those are poems that interpreted our area murals and will be printed and displayed next to the murals for years to come. We also have the Poetry Prose Summer Initiative. Will just recently gave an adult poets workshop, and some folks on our call might have been in attendance, but we had roughly 30 attendees, really vibrant group, very participatory, and thought it went really, really well. And that was a collaboration between the Park District, the library, and the Poet Laureate in our program. Will continues to also offer his Request a Poem or Happy Poems project, where you can request a poem from him directly. And if you have not done that yet, you absolutely should. He's trying to hit 100 poems for the residents of Urbana and hoping to create a small publication of them after the fact. But I'm really excited to be soon releasing both a nomination and application process for our next search for Poet Laureate. And so that will be released very soon. We are hoping that this year we'll also be able to launch a Youth Poet Laureate. And that's what's very exciting. We've talked a little bit about this before. When we have a teen Poet Laureate who's served at a city level, that teen is also eligible to apply for the National Poet Laureate title, which is super, super cool. So we're trying to organize that there would be a teen Poet Laureate concurrent, and they would be encouraged to collaborate on occasion, but they would also be having their own independent projects. But our Poet Laureate will wrap up here in October. We're going to be launching just in a couple weeks our full search for the next Poet Laureate. And we have a nomination process this year that we hope will also give people the necessary ego boost to encourage them to apply. So if they were hesitant for any reason, didn't feel like, oh, I don't know if I'm cut out, they'll get an email if somebody submits their name that says, hey, your peers think that you would make a great Poet Laureate, come and apply. So we're really hopeful that that will also create a lot of interest, and certainly things that we'll ask you to help us circulate once they kind of get out. Our next Young Artist Studio is coming up on September 20th. It's actually kind of an end cap to the CU Black and African Arts Festival, but we're offering a Kids Learn African Dance with local artist Tatiana Ammons, who also is the founder of Noma Expressions. And that will be again done virtually, so anyone can attend, and you register through the Urbana Free Library's calendar website. We also continue to develop this project of Teen Artists Reimagining the World as a youth exhibition, as a collaboration between Chambana Moms, Cranard Art Museum, Coop Adventure Play, Museum of the Grand Prairie, and a number of youth and youth community groups, organizing an opportunity to invite teens to lend their creative works towards visualizing a world without systemic racism and other isms that centers peace, justice, and unity. We're hoping that the exhibition opportunities will include a digital display, public access TV, and in-person gallery and museum exhibitions. Planning is very much still underway, but I hope to have more information next month for you on that one. Our intern projects have, and let me say something about intern projects before I move on. Our intern projects have been pretty wonderful this summer, and many have continued through the fall so far. And I want to encourage that we just all know what they've been working on. You're going to hear from the three that are presenting today, but we've had a lot of successes of the summer with having some remote work really lend itself to really interesting things happening for the program. We've been able to have a very strong cold calling effort for arts and cultural organizations, making sure they have relief and resource information due to COVID-19. We've had translation support and having a lot of our documents translated into Spanish, French, and Mandarin, excuse me. We've had arts programming for seniors, so we're currently working on collaborating with senior centers, web, social media, and newsletter updates. Some of our interns presenting today will tell you about a few of those in particular. Teen artist programs, we had a listening session where teens shared what they'd like to see from our arts program, recommendations about how to better reach teens, and research on teen programming that we could incorporate. More cultural programming, so particularly the development of our African dance workshop, our Teens Reimagine workshop, and other opportunities that are sort of in early development around cultural programming expansion. Obviously, our sensory sensitive programming and programming for artists with disabilities. We have one of our interns who will speak to you today is working a lot on film projects and editing. And professional development is something I take very seriously for all of the interns. So each and every one of them gets mentorship from me, where we also work on their resume and cover letter development. They interview someone in their desired field and learn more about a day in the life of, and they get a chance to really just explore and build upon their skill set so that they're ready for the next thing. So we see this as a springboard effort towards more things. And that's really just to kind of give you a sense of some of the things they're working on. They'll tell you a little bit more as well. I want to mention that we're collaborating with the Writers of Oya to produce a 15-minute video of teen poets to premiere as part of Pygmalion's Poetry Marathon, held virtually this year due to COVID-19. What's really exciting is we'll be able to make sure that there's a specific sort of teen slam in the middle of that poetry marathon. I think it'll be really wonderful. We do need to talk today about the sculpture project, and my hope is to, if we don't get to it from today's meeting, to certainly have some conversation at next meeting deciding about sculptures. We did have 3 red houses be deinstalled, and on the schedule for deinstallation is also Peak Between the Trees. Now, as a reminder, 3 red houses was near Boneyard Creek Crossing on the eastern side of Race Street, and there's a concrete slab that's there and totally in need of a new sculpture. And we have the other one, Peak Between the Trees, is right on Main Street in front of the 123 main building. So very prominent in our downtown, both of those spaces, and would be wonderful places for us to consider sculpture. We are budgeted to have sculptures, and Heather and a program specialist and myself went through, and we have some suggestions, and it might be useful to have if we can handle this tonight without getting too far, have a conversation about how we can move forward on sculptures and using our budget strategically in ways that I think we've talked about we want to. I want to mention a couple other things. We've got this Art for Nourishment program that is in development. We're wanting to partner with local food distribution programs to present this as an opportunity for local artists to work with basically to submit artwork that will be printed on 5x7 prints and distributed in meal kits for 25 local families each served by volunteer food distribution programs. A total of 300 local families will receive local art as part of this project. We're currently collaborating with the Bucket Brigade, Silver Hearts, and the Tiger Market of Urbana School District 116, and we've had some initial meetings with those groups to talk about what this call would look like. And this, I'm proud to say, is an idea that's really gotten into fruition because of one of our interns, and she'll tell you a little bit about that when she presents as well. Lastly, I just want to mention, obviously, we're continuing quite a lot with our relief for individual artists and arts organizations, but I just want to reiterate, as I have each month, that AmericansForTheArts.org has a really wonderful COVID-19 resource and response center website. The link is included in the written report for today's meeting, and the relief guide that they produce is updated pretty regularly. We did go through and update our website to include up-to-date dates on relief programs that are available. So if you go to the City of Urbana's COVID relief page on our website, all the arts organizations and actually our interns helped with the general business relief information date updates as well. So we've got that all pretty up to date. We encourage people to use them. That is the end of my report. Before we go to intern reports, I'd love to ask if there's any questions from anyone. I filled your head with so many things, there's no questions. All right. Well, we have with us Madeline, Celia, and Max. I am going to share your presentation and be your Vanna White, but I just need to get it pulled up, so one moment. Okay. Can everyone see that all right?
Yes.
Excellent. All right, I'm going to hand it to you guys to take it away.
Thank you, Rachel. Yeah, so this is our arts and culture internship reflection. Of course, me, Madeline, and Max were the arts and culture interns for these past couple of months. And as it mentions right there, the Illinois Arts Council Summer Youth Employment Grant Program is what funds us. So, yeah.
Yep, here's the Illinois Arts Council Agency. Obviously, this is the grant that funds our program. And right there, it says their mission statement is to build a strong, creative, and connected to Illinois through the arts.
So I'm Celia, as you've heard now many times. I am a junior at Urbana High School, and I'm active mainly on the UHS cross-country team and the distance track team. I have a passion for a lot of types of art and culture. I have a particular interest in literature and writing and work in the library industry, particularly archival work. I've had some visual artwork, a collage, and then some miniature sculptures appear in local exhibitions. And you'll usually find me cooking or making art or running or writing or reading some novels. I love a good novel. And I joined Urbana Arts and Culture because of my interest in arts and also in community involvement. Like I mentioned, I have an interest in the library industry and I want to someday have a career in it. So an internship with the City of Urbana Arts and Culture program felt like an awesome way to get involved with my local programs here and experience some community arts and culture projects from the inside out.
Madeline, are you ready for your slide? There you are.
Oh, I just started talking and I was on mute. I didn't even realize. Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Madeline. I'm a recent high school graduate. I plan on studying art history and museum studies to pursue a career in art curation after my gap year in New York, which I will be leaving for in a couple of days. I have various experience working in museums and art councils and like community involvement with the arts. Yeah, I wanted to join this internship to learn more about how art interacts with communities and really get involved with the local scene that's happening in Urbana right now, and just reach out and see what's going on.
And my name is Max. Pochask is how you pronounce that. I'm a senior at Urbana High School, and I've worked in the past at the Park District summer camps, and right now I'm the drum major for the Tiger Marching Band. So part of the reason I joined, or I applied for this internship, is because I'm passionate about, reaching groups of people, especially younger generations. And so I kind of wanted to explore filmmaking and work within my passions of filmmaking, as well as, bringing my passions and the passions of grantees to the public and making young people in the public aware of them. And as it says there, I'm very passionate about the visual arts. I recently submitted a experimental short film that got selected for a festival in New York, and I'm going to be competing for a film invitational over the next few weeks to submit to that same festival. And here's a couple of accomplishments during my time as an intern. I edited together that Women Who Painted exhibition by Paula McCartney. There was the story break for the Urbana Free Library I also worked on. I'll be working through the poetry marathon video with the Riders of Oya. Coming up over the next few days, we'll get our own YouTube channel set up, and I've made a landing page for our social media accounts, so that with just one link in our bio, you can have access to the grant application page, each of our other social media platforms, as well as just overviews of what the department does. And I'll also be meeting with Jake Metz soon to produce our next episode of the Art Now series, which I'm sure you're familiar with. Additionally, I've met with some U of I interns, and we've worked on college application. They've been suggesting things, and I've also been setting up a LinkedIn page and other things for professional applications and development. And in tandem with that, tomorrow I actually have an interview with the Urbana Public Television. So maybe I could be working here for a little bit longer after my internship. Who knows?
So here are a few of my accomplishments that I wanted to highlight. Early on in my internship, I created a list of marketing strategies on how best to get the word out about events to teens. That involved some research on advertisement for teens that had been done in the past years. I also went through the Urbana Arts and Culture portion of the City of Urbana website to search out inaccuracies and outdated content and typos and stuff like that. I reorganized and added to the arts resources list, which is also available on that same portion of the website. I learned basic graphic design technology in the form of Canva to format poems that will be printed out for Poems on Glass that go with the murals on glass in downtown. I developed a list of possible colleges, and I actually made a whole spreadsheet about them. And I also wrote a reflection on my career in the next couple of years after high school. I helped jumpstart the collaboration between the food distribution groups of Champaign-Urbana and the Arts Program, which is, as Rachel mentioned, the Art for Nourishment Community Art Distro. I participated, well, that shouldn't be past tense. I'm actually participating in an interview tomorrow with a career librarian, Rachel Fuller, to assess my future career goals and path and sort of learn about a day in the life of a librarian. And I also have assisted in updating information on the Urbana businesses list for the Economics Development Department.
Okay, so recently in the beginning of my internship, I started working on an ongoing project to reach out to local senior care centers and residential facilities to possibly partner and collaborate on art programmings like remote activities and events. I created a scavenger hunt for the Urbana Sweet Corn Festival. I have this is an ongoing project that I've been working on. I have created a monthly e-newsletter, which is shown in the top 2 images, that gets sent out monthly, basically just highlighting different like current events and happenings going on in Urbana. I have a interview hopefully this week with the chief curator of the Kalamazoo Institute in Michigan for professional development. I've also been updating my LinkedIn page, doing career research, and meeting with student interns from the U of I for like college application stuff. And yeah, so that's what I've been up to.
So looking back on my internship, this is my first position in the communications and the like art department world, and I loved being a part of it. And it's kind of too bad that so many programs had to be suspended or had to be held virtually, but it was still a great experience. My personal schedule has been kind of hectic, but Rachel's been really accommodating, and we've been able to like still get me to have enough to work on. It's great to like see all these people in our community that are creating great things. And so I want to keep being able to share their stories and hear their stories.
So this was my first experience with an official paid job other than like mowing someone's lawn or something like that. And it's definitely not one that I will soon forget. I did get a chance, as I had hoped, to help add some positive energy to my community through arts and culture initiatives. I also got a chance to work on the sector of my life that has seemed very insurmountable, I'm sure, to many of us and to me at this point in my life, which is, I like to call it just college stuff, you know, like looking at what colleges I want to go to and pricing and figuring out majors and everything like that. And this internship has really given me a chance to, through mentorship from Rachel, address that. And after getting to work with Rachel and my fellow interns, I feel just really grateful for getting to be in such an engaging and wonderful work environment. And in the future, I hope to spread the word of opportunities through the Urbana Arts and Culture to my peers and fellow community members that just need a little bit of a push to engage with the arts around them.
This internship was a really great experience because this was kind of a look into a different side of like the art field that I haven't previously been exposed to. It was a really great chance for me to build upon like pre-existing skills like communication and like outreach and stuff like that, and then also build new skills like online development and like basic graphic design stuff, which was really cool. Yeah, it was also really amazing to like be able to like create things from my house that like people from the community are able to like see and utilize. And yeah, it was really awesome to be able to like start something and see it through to the end, like to when it's like released to like the public. So that was also really awesome. I had a really great time, and I'm really like, yeah, I'm grateful for this opportunity. We would like to thank the City of Urbana, the Illinois Arts Council, the Urbana Arts and Culture Program, and Rachel Storm and everyone who supported us and made this possible. Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm muted. I just want to chime in and say that these three and our Care for You intern, Rima, Salem, all of them who had been our high school interns of this summer have done a phenomenal job. I wanted them to take up some time in tonight's agenda because they haven't been able to talk at these meetings about what they've been up to, and I'm so glad you're able to hear the breadth of things they've been working on. So I'm gonna, probably echo what I'm sure is a sentiment shared across all of us on the Arts Commission, but thank you for your work. Thank you for being part of this program and for pitching in the ways that everybody on this meeting do to make the arts program a really lively place and the arts community in Urbana a really lively place. So great work.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, let's go ahead then with the first of the grant presentations. The first one will be Ibrahim Odrago. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, who will be presenting the 2020 Urbana Arts Grant Independent Clapboard Film Festival.
All right, thank you. I have a PowerPoint to share on the screen. So I go ahead.
Have you screen shared before, Ibrahim?
Yes.
Okay, great. And can you speak up just a little?
All right, did you hear me okay?
Okay.
We'll share with this. Is that you receive it? The screen?
I can see it. It's still a little hard to hear you. So if you, I've got my volume all the way up. I don't know about others, but I would encourage you to speak up just as much as you're comfortable.
Okay.
Okay.
So how about now?
Perfect.
All right. Yeah, thank you so much. My name is Burema Wetrago, and I am a local artist, videographer, and I have a small studio here at the Independent Media Center. And I'm happy to be here to present the final presentation of the Independent Clapboard Film Festival workshop. And I have the PowerPoint, and yeah, it was a very pleasure to enhance the CD art and culture program, as well as promote a better quality life through educational outreach to youth in Urbana. This project includes 2 youth workshops that we did on August 1st and August 8th. And also we had a virtual film festival on August 12th. The participation, where our target was from the youth age 14 to 18 and 19 to 21. And so we include a lot of minority youth in the community. And we made our workshop program, due to the pandemic, we made a safety our priority. So we limited the number to do that. And also we were able to provide masks and respect the social distance, and also provide a hand sanitizer for all the participants. So the Independent Clapboard Film Festival was teaching production and post-production for emerging youth artists to engage in the enriching and practical experience around filmmaking. So the participants learn about operating camera equipment, how to shoot films with proper lighting, sound, professional sound, practical shooting films, and the different crew position, learn how to export, create, edit their own project. So to do all of this, we had a registration form announcement through online via Facebook. We posted on the Independent Media Center Facebook page, as well the Urbana Art and Culture Program Facebook page. We also print the registration form, where we went to some different location in town to participate in some event, have a table where we inform people that this event was available and free for them to take advantage for this opportunity. The impact of the grant, for me, it increased the collaboration between the city partner. It introduced young citizens to the public space venue, and it helped me as an individual artist to my outreach and show me, learn how the style of the participation age group that have a variety level of interest in this creativity idea, which serve and inspire as an inspirational for the future art and probably in the future workshop. It helped increase the organization capacity of my small business here, Global Visual Media Studio, and in the Independent Media Center. And also this workshop was the first one we did in person since the Restore Illinois was put in place. So I have a couple slides of picture and video here to give you an idea of how our workshop looks like, and looks like during our two sections at the Independent Media Center. So we rent the space at the Independent Media Center, very wide open. To do that, we have a participant seat with respecting the social distance, as you can see on the picture here. And then the day on the Saturday, August 1st, was our first section. And we have a student show up early on time. We start our first workshop at 10 to 2:30.
Action.
Now, we had in this workshop, we had the first section, we provide packages of what we're gonna learn during the workshop and for the student to take a note. So just after this first section, our second section is to give the chance to the participant, the student, to have a hand on the equipment and to be able to produce something, their own production. So we devised the workshop class on two groups by let them have a brainstorming about the idea, what they want to share during the workshop for the festival. And I have an interview of one of the participants that explained how they was able to brainstorm and the idea to do their own movie. So here is the video for the interview.
Hi, so I'm Camille Files, and we are doing a movie for the film workshop about, we're just interviewing people that live here, and we're interviewing them about what it's like to live here, what they would change about living here, how are the schools, things like that. And my lovely crew, which is Kayla Files, she's doing the camera, and Ben, he's doing the sound. So I hope you enjoy our movie.
All right, and then in this presentation, we didn't have the full video for the student, but we have all the video link on the Champaign Independent Media Center YouTube channel. But I do have a couple pictures to show you how the student was able to get everything done during the workshop. As you can see here, we have our director, and she was a director, and she was also the sound engineer here in the crew. And in this group, everybody take a turn to operate the camera, to do the sound, the lighting, and everything to produce their own movie between the group. This is another photo during the moment where they were shooting, having hand on the equipment, and to produce their own films also. And next we have our second group, which also had the same idea. They sit as a group, they're brainstorming and have an idea how they're gonna approach, the film technique and by using the equipment. And also we had an interview of one of the directors of the group sharing the story, what idea they have to their own movie.
My name is Mackenzie, and my group for the director is Latifa. For the mic is Shakora, and for Zanira for the camera. We thought about it, and we saw a lot of art pieces around the room, so we decided to go with art. Also because we thought that we can just talk about how art is, and why we like it and see what other people have to say about it.
So this was the second group. They decided because we was doing workshop at the Independent Media Center, they got inspired with all the art, the picture. If we ever have a chance to visit Independent Media Center, you will see immediately that on the lobby there is a lot of art surrounding. So they got the inspiration from there. And also the movie is available on the Independent Media Center YouTube channel. Here are a couple of slides for the picture. They use the same technique. They take a turn. Everybody had a chance to do the operate the camera, the sound, and also different other projects. So on this was the first slide was our first section. On August 8th, we have a second section for workshop full day production with a group age from 19 to 21. And also they was able to do the same full day production, learn the post-production and also be able to learn the post-production section too. And they were able to produce their own movie that is also available on the Independent Media Center YouTube channel. So through the fund, we have a 2 section for the workshop, and the section was from 10 to 2:30. We provide lunch to our participants during these 2 sections. And then, so Clapboard Film Festival also, because it's a production and post-production, we during our section, after shooting the video, have the production section, we also had a chance to teach our participants how to export the footage to the computer, which kind of program to use to do editing. And also we was help them to be able to edit their own movie. And we don't have the final here, but some of the interview, like you see here, the short seconds video is made also, we were able to edit also during the workshop. Finally, we had our final screening night for the Independent Clapboard Film Festival. It was on Wednesday, August 12th. We had a online film festival, and where in this online film festival include 3 short video about the workshop and also the student films that we have that on the YouTube channel. And then during that time, we invite the student to be able to invite anyone to join us during that evening night, screening night, to see all the wonderful work they was able to produce during this 2 workshop section. So I think this was the final, and we want to say thank you again for Urbana Art and Culture Program to supporting this initiative, and I'm open if you have any other question. Thank you.
Any questions, folks?
Any?
All right. Thank you, Ibrahim.
Well, thank you very much, Ibrahim.
I just have one.
Yeah,
one
it's a great program.
Yes.
Oh, Frank has a question.
Okay. What was the gender breakdown as far as people that participated? It seemed the presenters that talked were all young ladies. Were there any young men that participated as well?
Yes, we have like a total 7 people for the first workshop, and the second one was 3 other people, student. And it was the idea, I mean, the group, our age range between 14 to 21, but unfortunately we end up with the 13 to 19. You see one of them are more younger, but because they came as a group and we give them a chance to be all together to learn this initiative.
Thank you.
Well,
Thanks
Okay,
again, Ibrahim.
Thanks very much, Ibrahim.
thank you.
Okay, next we'll have Susan Parenti of the School for Design to present the 2019 Urbana Arts Grant Community Puppet and Mosaic Making.
Okay, can you hear me? This is actually to be done with Mark Enslin. This was a collaboration between Mark Enslin and myself. I am wearing this mask because we have plumbers trying to fix a pipe. And so we're all wearing masks. So sorry if I'm not too audible. Mark, would you like to start?
Okay. So this grant was requesting help with continuing something we had done in 2018, trying to continue and expand, where we had created some art making parties in the park around Susan's house, which is on Franklin Street that goes into Crystal Lake Park. And that involved canvassing the neighborhood that has a bunch of different kinds of communities kind of living around there. And these were big successes, and we thought, okay, we'll go ahead and with that. And so we had scheduled that August of 2019 would be the month. We have a program that's in West Virginia, and then we had scheduled, we're gonna have the first of these parties. And then Susan had a car accident and was in the hospital for the month of August, not the whole month, but was recovering over that month. And she's the mosaic person and I'm the puppet person, and mosaics are kind of heavy. So that wasn't going to work exactly. However, the basic idea is that we wanted to have art engagement in informal or quasi-formal settings that would bring forth people who don't usually engage in this way. And it just happened to coincide that we were doing this large-scale free collaboration program called Rewriting Cassandra, which was inviting people from anywhere to converge. And when we converged, we would figure out what we're going to do in relation to climate change. And so one of the things that came out of that, I think was the brainchild of Susan, was to create something called climate change cafes. And so it had a little bit the aspect of the party gathering to do something creative, only we shifted it to the market at the square, at first outdoors and then indoors. And we would have a rug on the ground with pillows. And so as people walked through the farmer's market, they'd be invited to come and sit down, this kind of gesture. And we would offer tea and cookies and sometimes in performances, and I would have puppets there too, to ask people what they feel about climate change. And so it was conversation. So it was a kind of a happening performance. And this was every week from the end of September until February that we did these, this form. And then along with that, so it wasn't exactly what we'd envisioned with puppet making party workshop. I was going to do one of those, and there were going to be two mosaic. However, I did do a number of puppetry workshops, either demonstrating puppets or some puppet making, and a couple of puppet performances in grade schools. So I had written a puppet musical called Reindeer Science. This here is one of the stars. And so we did an assembly at Yankee Ridge for Yankee Ridge School, and then an assembly at Wiley School. And we tried as much as possible to make it participatory. There was a lot of interaction with the students as they came in, and also question answer afterwards. And so it had some of this character of engaging people. I did a puppet making workshop that was sponsored by Cranert with fifth graders from Wiley, so 60 fifth graders. And although this was really a Cranert program that I was helping out with, it was because of this project that we were doing that I was prepared to come and offer this thing. Susan, you want some now take it away from here?
Yeah, but just for a minute, because I know we're at minute 4 and I want to do that. Yeah, we were trying to experiment with the idea of not performer audience, which I love and don't want to denigrate. But in both the cases of this Climate Change Cafe and the puppet shows, we were trying to invite people to not learn from us what climate change was, but actually get a chance to tell us how they felt. And we also did not paint ourselves as experts. We weren't handing out pamphlets. Again, experts are great, but we felt with climate change, it is an emotional, chaotic situation. And people, we discovered, really wanted to talk about it. And they wanted to have something free, a muffin. And they wanted to hear what other people were saying. And people would come back week after week saying, well, have you guys figured out what to do with climate change? We kept their names on emails, and I would write to people on Friday night saying, we'll be back on Saturday morning. So we were trying to really create the idea that people had something to say, but they just needed to be asked. And the last thing, a lot of this was triggered by finding out from American Science Institute, that most Americans only talk or listen to language about climate change for 20 minutes a month. And so we coined the phrase, how can you solve a problem if no one is talking about it? And so we decided we would talk about it. And what was also interesting was that a lot of people who were performers, ourselves included, when we were there for 3 hours, we'd sometimes get tired of talking about climate change and people would start singing. We had climate change Christmas carols. People loved that, cheery Christmas carols about climate change. So all of this was a probe to find out what were people thinking and to enable people to hear what they had to say when we asked them, how do you feel about climate change? So that's kind of the project. We're done.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments for Susan or Mark?
Oh, I had a question. Thanks. Sorry if I missed it, but about how many people do you think participated in the program, and just any demographic information about them, age or backgrounds? Thank you.
Mark?
I figured about 1,000 people, which is about 3 times what our original plan was. And so there's about 300 students at the 2 grade schools. There are a lot of students of color at both schools. And so that was, actually part of the attraction of going to those particular schools. And the people who would come through the farmers market were quite varied. And so this included people from the university. It included some people who maybe were housing insecure. There was a janitor who came by multiple times, partially because it was a friendly atmosphere where we weren't selling anything. We weren't asking someone to do anything. We just said, hang out.
Can I ask?
Oh, one more question.
And what kind of continuity have you had afterwards with percentage of people wanting to stay involved and maybe new initiatives developed as a result of your efforts?
Well, one I would say was that it is what we found out. One thing was very clear. People wanted to see themselves not as victims of climate change, but as heroes. They would ask us, can I do something? Can I get my hands dirty stopping this climate change things? Is there programs? So I've become part of an initiative which is called C4. It's a climate change initiative. It's got people from Master Gardeners, Forest Preserve, Park District, School for Designing Society. There's around 20 of us. And we are probably going to continue the climate change cafes in some kind of context given COVID. And it became the message of being able to connect people to things they could do so that they would go with their grandson, plant 10 trees. On Monday morning, say, I did something. I'm a part of this attempt. I'm not just going to lay down and die. We're now actually working on ways that people could switch the language about COVID into the language about climate change, because COVID has upstaged a lot of the concern for environment. And I think it's actually, people have not been encouraged to see the connection between COVID and climate change. So we're trying to continue it. And we have the email lists, and we're going to be trying to make a little newsletter for people, telling them things they can do.
Okay.
Also, with the principals at the schools, it was an opening for their possibilities, like doing something with art teachers, etc.
Good. So it was a win-win.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks.
Of course, thank you to both of you.
Yep, thanks very much. Okay, next we're going to have Darius White of the Urbana Business Association present for the 2020 Urbana Arts Grant 45th Anniversary Sweet Corn Festival.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to share my screen at this time. Okay, hello again. My name is Darius White, and I am the Executive Director for the Urbana Business Association. I will be giving the report for the 2020 Urbana Arts Grant Tier 3 report for the virtual Sweet Corn Festival. Once again, this year did mark our 45th anniversary of the Sweet Corn Festival. And with so much being different due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we decided to have a virtual offering with the theme of remembering the sweet times. Our goal was still to provide entertainment to the community with the thought of reflecting on better times. And this was and there was no way we could do that without providing everyone with their sweet corn that they loved. On Friday, August 21st, we offered our first sweet corn drive-through from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. The sweet corn drive-through was located at the southwest corner of the Lincoln Square Mall parking lot. At this event, we sold sweet corn, commemorative tote bags, as well as PPE masks. This year was a lot different compared to in the past. We have purchased 6,000 dozen of ears of corn. This year, we only purchased a whopping 500 dozen. However, we still did that with our partnership through Maddox Farm, and we were very happy to do the bulk purchase of putting them in commemorative bags that actually had our virtual festival logo on them, as well as just once again, just to be helpful in this time during the pandemic to be able to provide the PPE mask as well. With the help of 12 volunteers, we were happy to sell approximately 425 dozen ears of corn with more than 300 cars driving through the event. The rest of the sweet corn that was not sold, we happily donated to the Learman Neighborhood Community Garden, who unfortunately lost their corn plot this year due to the hailstorm we experienced a couple months ago. On Saturday, August 22nd, we offered our first virtual Sweet Corn Festival, Remembering the Sweet Times. The virtual offering was provided on our Facebook account. It started at 10 a.m. and went to 10 p.m. with a new video starting every hour. We worked diligently with the Sousa Archive and Center for American Music to highlight a diverse range of past performances from the last 5 years, covering rock, 90s pop, country, swing, jazz, blues, gospel, high school marching bands, as well as a DJ. There was definitely something for everyone. We also included a cooking demonstration. We highlighted our downtown businesses and provided many children and youth educational activities through the contribution of our local museums. Overall, there were 28 music videos, 13 children and youth educational activity videos, 1 cooking demonstration video. We started the overall virtual offering with a general welcome from Mayor Marlin, as well as we made sure to keep our traditional welcome from Mayor Marlin, Mayor Finnan, and Chancellor Jones before the One Community Together High School band performance. Next are a couple of videos regarding some of our offerings. They're only about 10 seconds each, just to give you a little bit of what we provided.
Darius, I think you might need to share, so go out of share screen and go back in and then select share sound.
Okay, thank you.
So it's like a little checkbox when you share screen at the very bottom of the share screen page. It'll say, just check that box and it'll share your computer sound.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
So this first
Get
one,
good at this.
right. This first one is a clip from the Prairie Dogs 2014 performance on the One Community Together. And once again, they're just 10 seconds with over 20 videos. We just chose a couple just to highlight the diversity. And with these videos highlighting the past performance, once again, remembering the sweet times, a lot of them are photo blended videos, not actually of the performance the day of at that actual festival. The only video that was more of a live aspect was our Downtown Get Down performance by DJ Silky, who finished off the night for us and actually had the most views throughout the entire offering. Then we also wanted to highlight a couple of our children and youth video activities. We did have story time for all ages with Miss Kim.
The 2 men was this. He was going to give them 3 riddles, and they had until the exact time the next day to come up with answers.
And actually, Miss Kim's story time actually had the most viewership for children activities.
Have a pond or a lake near your home to be able to see an American toad in the wild. They do show up in people's backyards because unlike a frog.
And that second video was a nature investigation by Homer Lake Forest Preserves.
The 2 men was this.
We also did a cooking demonstration with Balderota, who created a delicious pizza dish using sweet corn.
All right, I think that's good. I think it looks really good. It looks amazing. Love the colors going on. Right. It looks delicious. And once again,
and then we also created a video highlighting the downtown businesses. Currently, we have roughly 80 plus businesses in our downtown area. We were happy to reach out to all of them to provide some type of opportunity to be a part of the virtual Sweet Corn Festival. We end up having 30 businesses participate in the video. However, also after our music performances, we also highlighted the videos during those times just by listing our downtown businesses as well. And with that video, it was just a fun opportunity for businesses to be a part of it. Once again, it was more of the trendy videos that you see now on social media. And what we were doing was we were throwing a large ear of corn to one another, stuffed ear of corn, approximately less than a pound. We didn't want to do real ears of corn. We didn't want to hurt anyone at all during the video, but it was extremely fun. And a lot of businesses were happy to participate with us. Overall, for our virtual offering, we were very happy to say that for the first time, the Sweet Corn Festival went international. As you can see, the 5 location insights, those are the top 5 locations. And as you can see, second, we had viewership from Hungary, and fourth, we had individuals from Brazil tune in. So it was really wonderful, and that was an extreme help through the Sousa Archives, who had previous connections with individuals who actually performed in the Sweet Corn Festivals of the past, and they're now back home, and they got the opportunity to view themselves in past performances, and they also passed on the information to local friends there. Overall, Champaign took the first viewership at 24%, and we had Urbana at 13%. There was definitely a wide variety of age groups that tuned into the virtual festival. Clearly, there's a lack of analytics for ages 11 and under, and that is due to that age group not having Facebook profiles, and most likely they were viewing through their parents' profile. And then we've seen a significant difference between women and men tuning in, with women profiles at 73% and men at 27%. Through our social media marketing, we were able to reach 45,700 people. And when we say reach, that is individuals who saw the content post of the event. We also had 1,900 responses, and that is individuals that engaged on the post, whether clicking to attend, going through for more information, or even adding remarks throughout the videos. And on Saturday, August 22nd, we had 4,600 total viewers tuning in to the live stream of the virtual Sweet Corn Festival. And the great thing is, with this video being able to be shown later, that number continues to go up as our partners involved continue to share the video themselves. Although there were many challenges due to the pandemic, we are very happy with the outcome of our 2020 virtual Sweet Corn Festival. We are currently receiving many calls from other organizations, even out of the state, who are gearing up to offer a virtual offering and who are looking for guidance and advice. So we're very happy that we were able to offer something that other organizations saw as a success and are looking to duplicate in a way. And then finally, we would like to thank our partners for this year, the Sousa Archives, Lincoln Square Mall, City of Urbana, and definitely the Urbana Arts and Culture Program. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Darius. Any questions for Darius?
I'd just like to say congratulations. You are now a trendsetter.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, if no other questions, thank you again, Darius, and Urbana Business Association.
Thank you. You all have a good evening.
Okay, you'll have to help me out a little bit here, Rachel. Tony Pitts is the next presenter.
Correct, yes. And Tony, I am also playing Tony's Vanna White, so hold on just one moment. Just gotta make sure I got everything set. Okay.
Rachel, did you get my message?
I don't know, has this presentation changed?
No.
Okay, good.
I'm here with Shelby, and she's leaving at 6, and I just can't stay any longer.
Of course.
I'm sorry. I'll just have to come back in October. I'm really sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I'm sorry that you hung out during this time. Yeah, I mean, I'm also happy to share your slides since you spent all this time here tonight.
Well,
Tony's.
I just really have to go right now. I'm sorry. She's going to leave here at 6 o'clock, and I stayed as long as I could. I'm really sorry.
Of course. Do you feel comfortable with me sharing your slides in your absence?
Of course. But
okay.
I really have to go now. I apologize.
Of course. Yes, thank you so much for staying as long as you could. Folks, I'm happy to present on Tony's behalf. I've been in consultation with her and our other grantees, and so I mostly know what they've been up to. So this is Tony Pitts' presentation for the 2018 Urbana Arts Grant. And the only reason I want to be clear that I'm willing to give this presentation is in her absence, as she's waited now for a substantial amount of time, and she's dealing with some personal family issues at the moment, and I want to make sure that she's able to do it and move forward. Is that all right with everyone listening? Okay, I'll be brief.
Sure.
So her presentation actually comes out of a 2018 arts grant. There was an approved delay on this grant, so it has approval from the staff to go a little bit, obviously, beyond our grant deadline. And this was before COVID, but COVID didn't do anything to help the situation. But this is for a project called How Are Social Activists Made? And it was a teaching curriculum that centered photography as a means of engaging in civic engagement and social justice. She produced a lesson plan curriculum as a result of this grant in consultation with instructors and teachers for usage in Urbana School District 116 and beyond. She also notes that for her own growth, the grant gave her the opportunity and permission to become a photographer. Tony talked in her presentation to me about how there are a couple different parts of the project, but one was that the curriculum first set up the value of photo essay as a means of engaging in journalism and a means of engaging in photography as a way of talking about social justice. So they talked about the order of how we tell stories through images, how it can be a montage or a collage, and how images can be viewed as whole or as individual images. She went to Washington, D.C. to photograph activism and civic engagement and protests, including the Champaign chapter of Moms Demand Action Against Gun Violence. She learned the power of photography and social media in grassroots activism and ended up photographing a small group of people representing the CU Moms Demand group and a protest demonstration of around 150 people. She spent substantial time engaged in personal research that she conducted independently with the support of 3 educators, a retired journalism professor and high school teachers of art and English. Far too often, the public education system marginalizes arts education. We see arts education relegated to the extracurricular and arts teachers having few resources and the arts often divorced from civic education and social studies. This project offers educators curriculum that combines civic engagement and arts practice. She says that the majority of her time was spent administering, researching, and photographing and post-producing images for the lesson plan. She estimates spending around 1,200 hours on the project. There are many times that she completed a task only to continue and learn something new, which required her to continually revise the project. She says being in a situation and learning to choose the best, most powerful moments to tell a story is really what the curriculum is about. She shot a couple hundred pictures of civic protests and ended up developing a photo essay using only a handful of images. By using photography, students explore the ways visual media can advance social change and dialogue. She plans to continue to build the curriculum into broader sets of lesson plans to provide continued learning in the area of photography and the arts as a method of civic studies. Tony says she consulted with Beverly Pitts, retired journalism professor at Ball State University, on organizing the information project. She also consulted with Stacy Gross and Lisa Suchek, who are teachers at Centennial High School, on the project development, its timeline, and their own feedback. And Jill Lagerstam from Urbana High School 116 and Stacy Gross are currently reviewing the curriculum. Both teachers have indicated a willingness to test the curriculum in their classrooms. She says that the project taught her a lot about herself. Quite often it was her vision as a photographer and the way that she relates to her subjects. Other times it was skills. For example, she took a basic writing course to improve her written communication skills. She said she's really grateful that the committee had confidence in her and her idea and gave her a grant that had a profound impact on her as an artist. She's grateful for the opportunity, but the most important thing is to feel the fear and do it anyway. Sometimes that's easier said than done. Secondly, being curious and willing to be a lifelong learner is helpful. This opportunity has encouraged her to begin to solve problems and seek answers through art, and it taught her to look to the history of photography for guidance. She says, thank you for supporting her work on this grant. I think that's the last slide. Yep. Now, we don't have Tony here to answer any questions, but I'm certainly happy to pass along any questions you may have about the project. The only thing I'll add maybe to supplement her presentation is that she has been in a lot of communication with me as she's had different obstacles to this project. And, you know, just as our other grantees have indicated too, one thing I say in all my grant orientations, nothing goes according to plan. So we do our best to troubleshoot when all that happens. And I think that what she's pulled together, and you have in your written report a copy of the curriculum, is really dynamic. And so I'm really excited to see it be used, workshopped, and for teachers to also give feedback on how it works in the classroom, and to continue to build upon it, because as we know, arts education always needs more attention, and using the arts as a tool for social change, I think, is really an underutilized opportunity. And so that, I think, is what this really puts forth. Any questions you'd like me to pass along to her?
Yeah. I would just be curious to learn about the feedback and how it's received by the teachers, and, you know, long-term how it evolves. It'll be interesting to follow the results of it.
Absolutely. She'd probably be willing to come back, you know, if it at a time in which it's being used more and she's got it's got more development, and maybe even give you an update.
Yeah, be great.
Any other questions? I'm noting them down, and I will definitely send them to her after this meeting, and I'll encourage her, of course, to watch the recording. All right. Well, thank you very much. Our next presenter is Paula McCarty for the 2019 Urbana Arts Grant Women Who Painted, and I'm just helping out Pat with that one since it's an agenda addition.
That's fine. That's fine.
All right.
Okay. Hi. I have a PowerPoint also, and it's a short one, so I will just buzz through it here. Here we go. Okay. Can everyone see that? Okay.
Fine.
Yes.
Okay, so I had an exhibition at the City of Urbana that was scheduled March 1 through 31 to coincide with Women's History Month. And it was funded in part by a grant I received from the City of Urbana Arts and Culture, which was fantastic and a wonderful experience. And I will tell you, the exhibition actually got shut down mid-March due to COVID. But I was able to get a lot of bang out of my buck the first 2 weeks, I thought. So anyway, I'll just tell you a little bit about the art. The exhibition was comprised of 30 portraits of deceased women painters, but it was really a way to highlight their achievements or highlight women in the arts. And a couple of years ago, I really wanted to learn digital painting. So I bought a phone with a stylus, and I started creating portraits of women painters on the phone. And initially, it was just kind of a way to pay homage to a woman painter each month in her birthday month. So that was going as planned for a very short time, because when I started researching all the women, it was just overwhelming how many women artists I came across. And so I abandoned that idea and just kind of went at it. If I was intrigued by an artist, you know, loved her story or something, I would decide to paint her. So these were all done on the phone. I'll just show you a few of them. Lucy Kemp Welch was an equine painter, and Lois Malo Jones was influenced by African masks and often did also landscapes from her frequent visits to Martha's Vineyard. Dorothea Tanning was born in Galesburg, Illinois, and was a real mover in the Surrealist art movement. Alma Thomas, wonderful woman who really achieved a lot later in life, and actually has a piece in the White House's permanent collection. Those are just 20 of the digital works that I had in the, those are 4 of the 20 I had in the exhibition. And I created a website after some time, and I had accumulated enough digital work. And on the website, it's an educational tool where you can see the artists and actually learn more about them. So if you click on any one of these digital images, you're taken to a larger image, and then you're given the Wikipedia link where you can click on that and learn more about the artist. Also, the digital work was to kind of serve as a way to work out ideas for larger oil paintings. And I included 10 oil paintings in the exhibition between the two locations. They are 28 by 22, so they're larger than life portraits. This is Tamara de Lempicka, who was a Polish artist, Jay DeFeo from the West Coast, Alice Neal from Philadelphia, who did wonderful portraits, and Anna Anker, who was a Danish painter. This one is featured over at the Urbana Free Library. And those are all oil paintings. Rachel made this lovely banner that was used for advertising on social media as well as for the poster. And I used that poster as well as one that I created to advertise the event, and a postcard as well I distributed around town. The exhibition, unfortunately, I don't have any from the crowd that was at the reception. I felt like I had a wonderful turnout for the reception. I think there were approximately 60 people there, and it was just a very delightful and surprising turnout. So, and I received a lot of positive feedback, which encourages me to have confidence to continue to build on this body of work featuring women in the arts. And these are some shots of the paintings over at the City of Urbana building. And there's Rachel and myself in front of a painting. And I had all the digital work printed on aluminum prints that were 12 inches high by 8 inches wide. And I had a total of 20 of those. So most of those were hung over at the Urbana Free Library, but here are 8 at the City building. And here's the installation at Urbana Free Library. Nice little exhibition space there. And then I also did a portrait painting workshop, a free portrait painting workshop for children. I reached out to underserved organizations. I don't really know how many responded from those organizations, but I did have a full house. I had 12 kids and they had a wonderful time creating portraits. My daughter donated her time. Art Coop donated the space. I rented the space from them, but they were happy to make this coincide with Women's History Month, which was nice. So that was a very nice thing to happen. And then I was also featured in 2 articles on Smile Politely for Women's History Month. One was by Deborah Domel in Smile Politely, and the other one was Cope Compston, who was featuring all kinds of things going on regarding women and Women's History Month. And then I also participated in a WEFT radio interview that Cope did with myself and 2 other artists that was a live interview around March 2nd. And it is a segment on WEFT radio called Women Making Waves. So that was a fun experience and I've never done anything like that before. Also, I was supposed to have a portrait painting workshop at the Urbana Free Library at the end of March, but obviously that could not happen. So I will be giving a talk via Zoom on October 6th at 5:30 to 7 with a question and answer period following. This is an artist who has inspired me greatly throughout my artistic career. And I love this quote by him, that what an artist is trying to do for people is bring them closer to something, because of course art is about sharing. And this was just a wonderful opportunity for me to share the work, to highlight these women in the arts who were often underserved during their lifetimes. You know, they really weren't recognized as much as maybe they should have been. So it was just a really positive experience. Future directions for the project are to grow the online archive. I will probably keep it digital just for practicality purposes with storage. I will look for more exhibition opportunities. I do have an exhibition in the McLean County Arts Center down the road. I will add more resources to the website and possibly even write a book. And thank you, Urbana Arts and Culture Grant Program. It was an awesome experience. Thank you. And that is it.
Any questions for Paula?
Thank you.
That's excellent. I just had a quick question. Is the website live, or what's the website?
The website is womenwhopainted.com.
Okay.
And it is live, right?
Okay.
It is up right now.
Yes.
We've been sharing it quite a bit.
I've added a few artists since the exhibition even, so.
And fun fact, her exhibition is still on display. Yes, we've been in a pandemic. So it's still very much up at the city building. And one thing that Paula didn't mention, but I want to plug for you, Paula, is that we are also, because it's been up and because it will come down soon, we are planning some closing festivities. So because of COVID-19, they're going to be online. We're going to have a virtual artist talk with Paula coming right up here in next month, early on in October. I'm forgetting the exact date. Is it the 8th?
It's the 6th of October.
The 6th. Okay, the 6th of October, virtual artist talk with her about the series. And then he had to pop off, but Max, who was on here earlier as our intern, as he said, he created a digital video that Paul and I have talked about having as kind of a closing, in place of a closing reception. You can kind of like walk through the exhibit through this video. And so that is something that's on its way to your inbox, Paula, as soon as he does his last edit on it. And then we will release it once Paula gives her green light, and they'll get to see these kind of in a video display that can easily be shared too. And it looks like they're hanging on a gallery wall with the art labels right next to them. And it's a different kind of video for folks to watch and see as a digital exhibit. So we'll test that out for the first time, and it's sort of our COVID
Great.
way of doing another closing reception. So if there aren't any other questions, I just want to thank you, Paula. Great work.
Yes, thank you, Paula. Okay, I guess next we are going to talk about the Urbana Sculpture Project a little more.
So this has been an agenda item for us for a little while. What I think would be most valuable to do is I'm happy to share the sculptures quickly here, just so that we can kind of all take a look at them. I sent them through email to all of our commissioners. So just as a reminder, we have a standing relationship with the Public Art League. We have a contractual relationship with them, or we typically kind of promote their national call and serve on their jury, and the jury and the board of directors of Public Art League kind of okay a bunch of sculptures from that national call, and each year they unveil them as sculptures kind of approved for installation in this area, encouraged for installation, and then they seek sponsors at that point. So typically then either the arts and culture intern myself would come, or excuse me, coordinator would come with some version of like a recommendation of what sculptures we could potentially pursue, or we'd talk together about it. And what I did earlier this during this time of shelter in place is I sent them out to, since they didn't do their in-person unveiling, I sent it out as a PowerPoint to all of you. I'm not sure if you've had a chance to talk about it. And then we did kind of an email survey where we talked about, you know, we have a certain amount of money that we budget for murals and sculptures, and we've got our new utility box mural program. What do we want to prioritize this time around? And it is a sculpture year. As I mentioned, we have 2 spots in particular that could use another sculpture. We have a budget set aside, and what we had talked about as a staff is Heather Ann and I went over the budget, and I think we'd like to recommend the selection of 1 or 2 sculptures for installation this year, and then the remaining funding would then support these other efforts of continued like utility box mural program, that sort of thing, that also kind of prioritize the local, because a lot of the sculptures, there are some local submissions, but by and large it's a national call, so we get sculptures from all over. Would it be valuable to take a look at the PowerPoint slide as a group? Just quickly, I can go through all of them, and then what I would want to propose is, why don't we take a look at them today, and then I'll send a follow-up email to commissioners and ask you to kind of let me know what your top 3 are, let's say, even though we're selecting 2. I want to hear the top 3 that you're interested in of this pile. And then I'll put together a recommendation based on your feedback to present next month, and we'll move from there. Like I said, Peek Between the Trees will be coming up on its due date to be deinstalled, but we haven't met that time quite yet. And 3 Red Houses was just deinstalled just a couple weeks back, and I posted all over about it on social media if you want to see pictures of the de-installation when the artist came down. He's out of DeKalb, Illinois. So let me pull up this PowerPoint presentation and we'll kind of, let's see, at least share that with you. So hold on just one second.
Rachel, when we look at these, should we be thinking of the sites in mind that we already have?
That's an idea. I mean, it isn't out of the realm of possibility that we couldn't there's plenty of spots that we've talked about as potential areas for sculptures. But in particular, we have this like concrete that's already poured in one spot that's going to be empty, and another one too. So I do think we've got two prominent locations that might be good to think about as you're selecting. And that is right on Main Street in downtown Urbana. Really, it's peek between the trees is what's right in front of Crane Alley and that side of the street. And then Three Red Houses is on the eastern side of Race Street off Griggs. And it's kind of along the Boneyard Creek crossing, the walking path. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen here. Yeah. All right, just do this. Okay, so there are, I should note, excuse me, I'm sorry, hold on just one second. There were two that already have, or two or three that have already been selected that we cannot consider anymore, and they are Stargazer, Lost in Space, and The Feather. So I will note them as we go. So Street Musician is still available, and that is the one here. Okay, so this is from Tim Somerville, and the materials are steel and it's hot dipped in zinc. If these are approved by Public Art League, they've already had a lot taken into consideration. So they already are likely to withstand weather. They're already likely to be able to handle our climate. Other considerations are of course taken as well, but those are the primary ones. Asai 118, this is from Nicole Beck, and it's stainless steel, painted steel, and mosaic. The next is Letting Go, and the artist is Judd Nelson. It's hot forged steel. And it is, just to be clear what you're looking at, it is the figure and the bird. The next is Pluma Sculptura, the feather. So this one has already got a placement somewhere in Champaign-Urbana. So this is not one we can consider. So I'm gonna move right past it. And Stargazer also is not available anymore, but it will be, you'll see it pop up somewhere in Champaign-Urbana. Another one is Winter and Spring. So this is from Mark Krucke, and it is bronze, stainless steel, and oil-based paint. And if you can see here, there's kind of a leaf shape that also comes out of one side. The next is Twirling Smile Flower, and this is another Don Lauer. It should be noted that we've had Don Lauer selected in the past. That doesn't mean he can't be selected again, but we did remove his piece only last year, I think, from our downtown. It wasn't this piece, but it was a different one. He tends to do this Indiana limestone. Most of his work is done in limestone. This is Twirling Smile Flower. Next one is What is the Good? This is Gregory Stallmeyer. So this is a Champaign-Urbana person, or Champaign County person, and this is in steel, plexiglass, and resin. 9 feet tall. All right. Next is Courage Under Fire by Sean Morin. Steel and enamel paint. And I'm going to keep going, but feel free to, you have this in your email, so feel free to pull it up again and take a closer look if you want. Lost in Space, I believe already, was that the other one that, I believe it's the other one that's already been selected. So we'll move past that. Point of reference is Jim Jorgensen and Carissa Heinrichs, and this is stainless steel and copper. 8 feet tall. Spirited by Tim Somerville. Hot formed welded steel rod. Image of a horse, 6 feet tall, 9 feet wide. All right, and that is the group for this season. Just as a reminder, they do a call annually, and what we do is biannually we select sculptures. So they do stay for a period of 2 years in our program. And there have been cases in the past where the Arts Commission has headed up a like keep it or change it campaign, where we might renew sculptures versus select new ones. We've had donors that have assisted us with purchasing sculptures in the past. So that's sort of how our sculpture program works. But I'm going to follow up after this meeting with an email to all of you asking for your top 3, and I'll put together a recommendation based on that. Okay? The only other thing on the agenda from me was talking about the impact of COVID-19. Again, I think I covered most of that in my staff report. I just kind of kept it on the agenda in case anything big happened. The only thing I didn't note that is probably worth noting here is that you may recall that early on in our shelter-in-place order, we had a suspension of special event permits through the city of Urbana. If you've been following the news, you've heard that we've had things like emergency orders or new things put forth by our mayor. And one of the things that did happen was an extension of the special event permitting suspension. So that means that at this point in time, we're not giving out special event permits for large gatherings or events that, you know, close streets and that sort of thing. That's just something to note. It's something that we are communicating to our grantees who may be impacted by that decision. I will say by and large, all of them are already thinking alternatively, and I don't think anybody was considering closing a street or having a large gathering, but it's just worth noting. It's been extended to through the beginning of November for now. But that's it for me.
Okay. Did anybody have any other announcements before we adjourn? Okay. In that case, since we have finished the business on the agenda, I say we adjourn. Thanks for coming, everybody.